Welcome to Board Ghost, a story podcast with games as the engine.
If living is a highway, then heaven is a bus stop. Been waiting for a minute there, but has it been forever? 'Cause dying don't agree with me, no. 'Cause dying don't agree with me, no. All you board ghosts, come with me, we're going home.
We believe you're out there, hungry for stories for shared experience. We can't see you, can't hear you, and yet we'll play for you. This night's offering is Fiasco. Our humble players,
Brian Jones.
Ken Breeze.
and me, John Holt. Previously on Board Ghost, Chuck Salisbury is the lead anchor for Channel 6 News, and Brock Stone is his co-anchor. The local fitness expert who runs the workout show on the network is Carly the Curl. Brock and Carly are working to get a scoop over on Chuck, and Chuck is keeping a tight fist on the crown. There's a camp for Christ, Jesus Overarching Camp, that seems to rub Chuck Salisbury the wrong way. Things come to a head when Chuck Salisbury punches a protester who accosted him in the News 6 lobby. Now, for our grid, Brian and John's relationships, they're both on the Action 6 News team. Brock Stone is the ambitious protege to Chuck Salisbury's tired mentor. Between Ken and Brian, they're in an us versus them relationship. Brock Stone, of course, is the co-anchor on Channel News 6, while Carly the Curl works at a locally produced fitness show also on Channel 6. And they're kind of in cahoots, trying to work together to get ahead. Between John and Ken, Ken's playing a female character, there's a physical relationship. They're not actually fooling around, but everyone thinks they are. If you want to learn more about how we generated our grid or how this game works, I definitely recommend checking out our Fiasco primer. If you want to figure out where we started, you should definitely listen to our first episode. Yeah. And so now we enter the tilt.
And so these tilt elements become something that is just in the air now that anyone can draw on at any time, basically. Define mayhem then, and our mayhem will be misdirected passion. Supercharge a scene, sort of.
All right. So now we have 6 scenes left before we enter the denouement. Yeah. So we're going into Act 2 with these new tilts in play that will sort of complicate things. We know that somewhere in the mix there's a misdirected passion, and we also know that someone's life is going to change forever in a bad way.
In a bad way.
All right, and so where we left off, I think you're setting the scene or deciding what you'd like.
All right, so for my first scene, I will ask you two to set it for me. I will ask you to set, and I will resolve.
I'm going to say that you're driving through a throng of protesters with your crew to shoot an episode of your fitness show at Jesus Anchor Camp.
Kicking it with Carly.
Yeah. So you're gonna kick it with Carly Christ style.
Carly Christ style. This is Christ edition. No, we call it Christ Crunches.
Yeah.
Crunches for Christ, rather.
So you're headed into this camp, and you kind of have your eyes peeled for the guy you saw,
the guy that we interviewed earlier,
who got socked, and then you're also like you've got your phone close to you. Because like you're just looking for more opportunities for Brock to.
So all right. So who's in this scene with me then? Do I run into Clint or do I run into Brock? And what do you think, Brian? Like, is this the scene?
Is there anything?
Is this so I'm driving through a throng of protesters protesting.
Yeah,
Jesus
you're entering
Overarching Ranch Bible Camp.
Right. And you're on your way in to this
I am.
thing.
Yeah, this we had scheduled the shoot for today.
Right.
Yeah. It's like this has been scheduled for weeks.
Yeah. And so, Brian, who contacts or who does she run into here?
She runs into me.
So you're doing a separate story here, then, or are you just here on your personal time?
I'm just there on my personal time. It's my off day.
Yeah.
And you run into me, and I decided to maybe just.
Are you counter protesting?
No, maybe I'm just there just to observe. Who knows why I'm there?
Okay.
But more or less, I'm there just to maybe in a support role to see a live episode of Kicking It with Carly.
So that's it. So you're there because you have a side gig with me where I pay you to be one of the people behind me doing the same exercises I'm doing.
Sure.
Because you're so ripped and you look great.
Yeah.
So you're like one of my, like, it's sort of this like sweet synergy where people watch my show who like you as one of the anchors on the evening news. So but you just got there early, it sounds like.
Yeah.
So I sort of see you in the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say your show's going really well.
Yeah.
It goes off without a hitch.
Yeah. We get some of the kids. They're doing their cross deadlifts.
Yeah. So, arms straight out, cross pose. Yeah. So the show's really good. A lot of great exercise to be had. Cheers from the people who work and live at the camp.
Yep.
Kind of drowning out the sounds from outside. Yeah. It's a pretty positive experience. You notice though that you've missed some calls, and you have a voicemail.
Okay, so I'm there with Brock, where it's after the shoot. The protest has sort of died down, but except for the hardcore people who are still out there, who sort of camp outside the camp. And I finally am able to listen to this voicemail. And what does the voicemail say?
It's a call from the local sheriff trying to get in contact with you.
Okay.
We're inquiring to your safety.
Inquiring to my safety. All right. I hear this voicemail and I look at Brock. I say, this was just the sheriff. They think that I'm in danger or something like that. What is going on?
From who?
I don't know.
From where?
They didn't say. Do you still have that rifle in the back of your car?
But I don't actively use it.
Well, I don't know.
I'm not a gun nut or anything.
I know, but
That's
now
just
I'm starting to get a little worried. What's been going on here could easily spin out of control, and if what happened if what stupid Salisbury did, if he put a target on all Channel 6's back now, who knows? There could be some nut out there who's who knows what.
Could he be that dark or that twisted?
A guy like that, he doesn't have.
He took me under his wing. He is a little bit surly and a little bit rough around the edges, but the guy is still a decent guy at the end of the day. I think. I don't know. Maybe he's playing us all.
I say this is a good positive or negative moment.
Yeah, it's negative, definitely. So I'll take the negative die. I keep this now.
All right. So what does that mean?
So what this means, Curly is realizing that Brock might not have the cojones to go all the way on this Salisbury deal. He's talking about how he's a good guy. I took him under his wing. So she's starting to realize that she might need to look out after herself if she really wants to get famous and get this out there. So I think what happens is that she scraps her video that she's taken and instead spends the next few hours filming protesters and people who work at the camp, trying to generate this narrative that the people who work at the camp are being maligned and reported on incorrectly.
I'll set my scene. So Chuck Salisbury.
When is this?
This is
when the time
parallel.
So this is happening at the same time
as you see the cameraman of your van filming protesters as you guys drive through the gates of Overarching Camp, and
Jesus Overarching Ranch Bible Camp.
Bible Camp compound.
Compound is in the name.
And in the viewfinder, in the little screen of the cameraman's camera, you see the feed of what he's showing, and then match cut to inside Clint's office where he has like a bank of monitors and he sees sort of feeds from live cameras that are coming in, even if they aren't in play right now. So he has a window onto the control room and he's watching this feed come in. He's just finishing a call with the sheriff saying that he hasn't heard from one of his staff members, the Curl, and he's afraid that something may have happened involving Arch Ranch. And can they get in touch with him, and it may be a federal matter. Then he hangs up the phone and calls in his producer and says, "Hey, we have a breaking news story. I need to get on the air now." Goes, sits behind the desk, directs a package to be cut of the protest footage and some stock B-roll of the camp with the doors and people sort of like looking out at the crowd
Furtively.
and says, "I need to be on the air now. There's a breaking story." Channel 6 Action News, woo, comes on. "I'm Clint Salisbury, breaking in from your regularly scheduled program to announce that one of my top reporters and one of our beloved TV personalities, the Curl and Brock Stone, may have been taken into captivity by the fanatics at Jesus Overarching Ranch. I have it on good authority that federal investigators are looking into this matter, and we can only pray for their safety. We will report on more news as this comes in." And that'll be seen. So how's this going to end? As the lights go down in the studio, and everyone around is sort of slack-jawed and wide-eyed. Is this going to be a positive or negative outcome?
Brian, what do you think?
I'd say that this is probably a negative. I mean, and let's see
I
how
agree.
Negative for me
I
or
agree.
negative for you?
For you. It doesn't
you.
go bad. This is your scene.
All right.
It goes poorly for Clint Salisbury.
All right. So
you created something. Yeah, something has started.
the sheriff looks at this report and on the news and raises an eyebrow. That doesn't jive with what he knows is going on. And he gives another call into the Curl and gets a hold of her and verifies that she was there filming a show.
Yeah, and she tells the sheriff that the interviews that she's done, many of the interviewees talk about how they have been harassed by Clint Salisbury.
Cut to a basement or a garage where a guy has photos of like where this news clip is just finishing, similar to what the sheriff was seeing.
Yeah.
And there's that crumpled up flyer from Jesus Camp.
Yep.
There's a photo, like a headshot of Clint, a headshot of Curly, headshot of Brock, and he's soldering something.
Oh no, that's not good. Okay.
All right, so Brian, you're up.
All right, we need to remember the tilts. That's right. We really got to remember the mayhem and the tragedy that
man,
needs to really needs to befall something soon.
Brock and Carly are at the camp, and after this news, which they don't really know much of, only from the sheriff and not knowing how this is going to play out.
Right. Yes.
See, at the gates of this community, we see not just police officers and SWAT vans and things like
the
that.
cops are showing up.
They're coming up because they're trying to figure this out.
Yeah.
That's also leading to a bunch of other news stations trying to catch the story as well.
Yes.
And get their footage. So then there's this hysteria and mayhem that is happening outside of there.
Yeah.
And, the camp, the shoot is canceled, and the cameramen are starting to worry because they have no idea what's happening. And we're trying to worry about what's happening. And the people at the camp and the head honchos there are very protective of their camp.
We're the only reporters on the inside because we were on the inside filming the kids,
right,
doing the fitness.
So
and then we started doing our own interviews to talk about how they felt about the protesters and everything.
Yeah, and
now we're inside.
We try to use this for our advantage, so to speak, because we can't escape, and we have the inside scoop. So we try to come up with an idea to convince the head honcho there to do an interview with us.
Yes. So we're interviewing the head honcho, and we're trying to ask questions about when Clint Salisbury's been at the camp and what his...
So do you want to do that interview? We'll do that guy.
I guess, yeah. Do we want to? Is that what you want to do? Yeah.
We'll do so it's Jason Fielding, the guy who runs Jesus Overarching Camp.
Ranch Bible Camp.
And he's like, welcome. Brock, it's so great to see you again.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Carl, thank you so much. It's great to have someone coming out and exercising the children.
Well, I really believe in what you're doing here. The program you have, I think, really could be scaled out to a national level.
Yeah, I mean, I really do believe that sweating out the evil is a good message to give to our kids. You know, they put a lot of bad stuff in their body, not just food, but also a lot of the spiritual cultural that comes in. And it's great that you kind of give them an activity. Brock, I love that you have a platform to speak from, man.
well, thank you. And it's great to see you again. And we just wanted, I mean, since we were here just doing a shoot, and now this seems like it's boiling up into a larger story here, we'd love to see if you'd like to share a little bit about your camp here, and then also what's going on. It seems like the anchor at our station has a little bit of a problem with you, and maybe if you can elaborate on that, hopefully we can come to maybe an idea of quenching these fears and these problems here.
So before he answers, I think this is where we get our, is it going to go good or bad?
Yeah.
Okay.
kind of thing.
So you would be deciding that, since it's sort of our scene, as it were.
I mean, if you guys have a sense too, I'll let it table a little bit, or if you can have a leaning.
I really want the tilt to actually come in. So I feel like as we're having this interview, the mayhem, the misdirected passion really comes to the fore. And the protesters, they break down the fence that they've been protesting against this whole time. And the people who have been living on the camp start to either defend the camp or run away or what. But basically, a huge sort of like melee ensues.
Right.
Just outside where we are.
I'll say this goes, this is Brock's scene, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm going to say this goes well for you because you catch on camera this whole thing, like mid interview. It's like you see Jason Fielding get brained by like some sort of makeshift club.
And the dude who's wielding the club has a "I love Clint Salisbury" T-shirt on, basically.
So we have the inside scoop, and we're using our camera people to get better footage than anybody else who's on the outside, and they're only seeing smoke and hysteria, but they don't really see what is actually happening. And we have that inside scoop.
But we get caught up in the general melee and chaos as well. So I feel like we maybe even get separated, and there's rough and tumble. Maybe some fighting is happening. I start to get physical with people, and I'm kicking and just punching people and stuff like that. Okay.
Carly, it's your scene.
Flash forward to that night's broadcast. At that night's broadcast is where Carly tries to get famous and tries to get finally her own segment on the news. And that segment is a takedown piece on Clint Salisbury. So she is at the station, is meeting with... She's gonna meet with Clint Salisbury. She's meeting with Clint Salisbury, and she is bringing him the tape.
All right.
She's bringing him the tape for her segment that night. That they talked about earlier was going to be the fitness segment, but she has a different idea, as she is now bringing it to him. And she says, "I got it all here, everything. This has the information about Brock moving to Channel 11. If you play this will ruin him. We got to make a decision quick, though. We go on the air in 2 minutes."
You're doing news now.
You know that I've always wanted more. This is my chance. This whole thing look at this bruise. You see my eye? I bled for this news.
He takes the film and drops it in the trash.
Ah!
You don't do the news. I decide what goes out. What are you going to do, huh? I'm Clint Salisbury, your jumping jack girl.
She sort of looks him in the eye with daggers, and she says, "Your time is over, old man. You just don't know it yet." And storms out of the office.
And he just laughs as she rushes out.
Well, let's find out if it's a negative or positive result from Brian.
Oh.
Oh, it goes poorly for the curls. All right.
Yeah.
So Curly has the tape. No, she doesn't.
She had a backup.
Has a backup.
Because she was going to do an end run around him anyways.
Yeah, exactly. So she has the backup tape, and she brings it. She tries basically to sneak it in, and is blocked. She's not able to get it in.
Yeah, like
on
the
time.
producer just is like
like
she's about to insert it in the beta drive or whatever,
exactly,
and the producer takes the tape and like grabs her wrist and is like, "Mr. Salisbury called. We are to escort you out of the booth and not allow you access at this point, Miss Smith."
She sort of yanks her arm like, ah! And that's it, I think.
It's the night. It's nightly news.
Yeah.
Right. Clint and Brock, like Brock is second chair in the nightly news. I've recut the segment into my story.
Yeah.
And refaced it.
Yeah.
So, you know, dun, Channel 6 Nightly News. I'm Clint Salisbury. With me, my co-anchor,
Brock Stone.
If you want the news, we've got the news. Channel 6. Tonight, our brave reporters were returned to us safely. They got footage of Jesus Overarching Camp people abusing the protesters. And he selectively edited the fighting back to look like the Jesus Overarching Camp people were in the wrong.
That's quite the curious footage there, Clint. We got what we could, and I don't think that tells the whole story.
From verified reports on the ground, Brock, I know you're in the middle of things and didn't see the whole picture, but I've been able to piece together the full story, and it's pretty clear that Jesus Overarching Camp really did extend the fist of violence instead of turning the other cheek. And now...
And I take a big sigh and clench my fist on air.
So what is this going to go? How's it going to go?
It goes horribly for you, Clint Salisbury, obviously.
All right. So the new footage comes up, and it's
somehow footage.
Mama Squirrel,
Squirrel,
and Baby Squirrel at the bottom of the tree. Tragic news tonight. Mama Squirrel and Baby Squirrel's tree was too close to the Springfield electrical lines, and sad to report, they're both now in heaven. Brock? And that's when, like, he turns to Brock to get a fist in the face. Like, just, like, smush, and falls ass over end on his chair, and you see his, like, pantless socked legs, like, just flailing in the air.
So, yeah, they found out about not just,
and the whole thing erupts.
Yes. So then he gets pissed off.
And he's like knocked out. And Brock, what do? You turn to camera. The camera's like tilting wildly, and there are people like running in front of it and papers everywhere.
I'm sorry, folks. We are experiencing some technical difficulties, but to get back to the stories, we'll report about this later. But in this story, as being first eyes and feet on the ground, is that there's been many rumors about this Jesus Overarching Camp. And I like to clear the air here and be the simple voice in this scenario. And I want to tell to all of you is that this place, and I'm going to admit this here on the radio, on live here in the station, is that I attended this Overarching Camp when I was a young boy. And there are many great values to that have lasted my whole life. And I hope that you can respect people of different faiths and denominations and letting them be. Rumors will always come about, and people always have to be against. But I want you to decide, and for you to have some compassion for us, them, we, and all.
I feel like that was Brian's scene, actually. I think he should just get this positive die as the slow clap.
All right.
Just sort of starts.
So it goes well. Yeah, everyone in the audience. And I kind of come up on the desk, like a tooth falls out, and there's just like blood. And I just kind of like slough down fall off again.
Yeah.
And so what is the positive result for Brock Stone from that speech?
I definitely approved myself to be top anchor, and that Clint's manipulation has been revealed.
This is all well. So now we enter the aftermath. So Brian, what'd you get?
1 and...
Oh yeah, so you got a positive 7-11.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I have a -3.
And I have a -3 as well, oddly enough.
So looking, they're sort of like black high, or like high negative or high positive. So black 3 for me and Ken's character, the outcome is harsh.
Yep.
Big black cloud of hurt is going to rain all over you. That's where we landed.
Shit in a bag harsh. A lifetime of medication harsh. A big black cloud of hurt is going to rain all over you. The things you need to happen are not going to. Simple as that.
Right.
Whereas for
Brian's got 11, so it's not too shabby. You've made it with dignity intact through some fluke.
There might even be a little profit or self-respect or something. Time to throw a little party for all your friends.
So the idea is we now go around one at a time, and with one die each, we sort of do this montage of what the epilogue, the denouement for our characters are. And so you sort of tie each scene or each sort of part of the montage to a negative or positive result. So I have 2 positive die and 2 negative die here, so I'll have 2 positive scenes in my montage and 2 negative scenes in my montage, even though overarchingly the aftermath of my montage will be harsh, shit in a bag harsh, lifetime of medication harsh. Sure, I'll do my first scene. We're going to do right after I'm escorted out of the building. There is basically a chaotic protest ensuing outside of Channel 6 Action News Team's headquarters. The worshippers and followers of Jesus camp are there. The protesters are there. And effectively, as I'm being manhandled out by security guards in between these two sides of protesters, someone pulls a gun and shoots me in the stomach.
All right. I am packing up my desk, and I unlock it and take out my contract with Channel 11 and put it on top of my box and head out through with security guards on either side of me, keeping the protesters at bay, to my car. Mm-hmm. That's my montage scene.
Your one positive montage scene.
And I am in my dressing room with my makeup team, and they're dolling me up, making me look pretty, and I'm pretty happy and pleased with myself. And the fact that I'm now top anchor at this station, I have everything I want.
Carly, in the next scene in the montage, is in the hospital. Mm-hmm. There's flowers all around her from admirers, well-wishers, and she is recovering. She's recovering.
So we cut to what's not on the TV. Match cut to Channel News 11 van. It's raining. It's pouring out. And there's, with an umbrella, but still like pretty well soaked, is Clint Salisbury covering a traffic accident where a load of chickens got loose and caused all sorts of zany mess on the highway.
He's covered in chicken feathers.
He's got feathers like flowing all around and like spitting them out. And he's sneezing, deathly allergic to chickens.
Chicken dander.
My co-anchor is a hot piece of ass, and her and I have started seeing each other.
Carly, we flash forward 6 months to her being discharged from the hospital. However, she is using a wheelchair as she exits the hospital. Her career as a fitness guru is over. Her career in television is over. She is alive, but her condition has completely changed, and her hair has started to fall out.
All right, so cut to a small broom closet size dressing room where Clint Salisbury opens the door. He's dressed in a clown costume, and he takes off the nose and sighs, and you can hear like, "That's it for wacky weather. Now on to sports," in the background as he shuts the door. And there's a box on his desk.
Flash forward to, probably 6 months or so, and I led a personal piece that shining light into the Jesus Camp in a good light, and for that piece, going through the history and to where they are now, led me to win a award for that piece.
My last die, it's a positive result. Flash forward many, many years. Carly has gone through a lot of changes and a lot of trials and tribulations. She got hooked on the junk for a while and then found her way back to religion and to spirituality. And thanks to her connection to Brock Stone, a leading and upstanding citizen in the community, she's been able to find a place as a coach for a league of wheelchair basketball that is run at the camp. And that's what she does for the rest of her life.
This is in his office, about to open that box.
Yep.
Attached to, taped to it, is that crumpled flyer. And, and written in marker is, "You will die for your sins." And he goes to lift the box, and he opens it up, and it's empty.
Ooh.
And he just sits down in the chair, still in the clown costume, and looks at this empty box.
Cut to a couple of years later. Seems like everything is going well for Brock Stone and his nightly news team. And we see a large billboard of my face along with my co-anchor's face. And the camera moves down into a car with Brock Stone and his co-anchor and him sniffing a line of coke off of her breast.
Scene.
That's it.
And the cycle starts again. You're the new Clint Salisbury.
Awesome.
That was a pretty good fiasco. Not bad.
Yeah. You guys like that, Brian? So you'd played this a long while ago.
Yeah. It all came back to me probably halfway through because I haven't played this in a long time.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I love this game. There's so many different ways to play it. I've played it before where every pairing of characters, every relationship has a specific need attached to it. So that is what your pairing needs. So you have all these competing needs in some way, which makes things interesting. I've played it where if there's more people at the table that you're sort of choosing scenes where it's not like you're just going to do scenes with people adjacent to you, that you're able to actually be like, all right, I'm having a scene with you now over there.
Right.
My character got screwed over.
Yeah. We all kind of failed hard, which was good. Except
Yeah,
you did good.
Brock Stone did pretty damn good.
Brock Stone came out smelling clean.
The cycle continues.
Yeah, right? That was interesting.
So to learn more about your players today and the engine for our story, you should visit boardghost.com. If you want to learn more about Fiasco, the company that prints the game is Bully Pulpit Games. They have the main book, which is all you need to play, and you can download a number of additional play sets that people have made. They've also put out 3 volumes that have play sets, and there's a companion book that gives you tips on helping people run the game and also gives you a couple more play sets and talks about ways that you can incorporate this as a system to generate story ideas for writing. There's a lot of fun applications for this game. It's got a nice structure to it and kind of gets your juices flowing. You can attempt to pierce the veil and contact us at Board Ghost World on Twitter. You can shout out through the ether if you have any desires we can fulfill, any other games we can play. If you guys like Fiasco, we'd love to play it again. If you have a specific playset in mind that you'd like us to run through, give us a shout out. Leave reviews and comments on iTunes or any of your preferred listening portals like Google Play. So again, I was one of your players, John Holt. With me this week was
Ken Breeze.
And I was Brian Jones, better known as Brock Stone.
So for Channel 6 News,
signing off.
That was Board Ghost. So also, if you're not alone in the void, share our stories. I want to thank Pat Couples for providing the theme song and the interlude music for our show. You can find more of Pat's stuff on patcouples.tumblr.com and his bands on hotelsandhighways.com. Share this podcast and let people know that you like it if you do. The more people who listen, the more encouragement we have to make more and try more experimentation.
If living is a highway, then heaven is a bus stop. Been waiting for a minute there.